you play chess?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. You're very good at it.
Not really.
No. Well, looks good, though. There's an elephant.
Yeah.
Oh, is it African themed?
It's soapstone.
Oh, fancy.
All about the Shawshank Redemption.
What, would you play against your child?
No, it's one of these icebreakers when there's somebody coming in and be like, "That's a cheeky wee game of chess." The ladies love it.
I can guarantee it.
Is Eve better than you?
Huh?
Is Eve better than you?
No. We can't play anymore. We played like I think twice and she lost and she's one of these table flippers.
Right.
I'll never be playing Monopoly by the way.
But chess seems like a game where it goes from the living room to the bedroom very quickly.
What, Monopoly?
No. But no.
You enjoy Thursday, Hamish?
That was good. It was interesting. Just, yeah. The RG folk are quite lots of characters.
Characters is always a nice way of putting things.
Call someone out right now.
It's got to be Omar.
Of course.
Yeah, because you know how one of the challenges was to take a picture with a virgin.
Yeah.
He just went up to a guy and took a selfie with him, and didn't ask him, and then came over to us and screamed, "I got a photo with a virgin!" And like, you looked over at the poor chap, and you were just like, "Mate."
Sad. But then we ran into a group of 15, 16-year-olds, and one of them, they were all pretty ugly, but one of them was ugly and fat. And they refused to accept that they're virgins. Because obviously, clearly they've been telling each other how many girls they've shagged, and they're probably at 10 or 20.
Wait, so on a night out, you were drunk and you went up to a 15-year-old and asked him if he was a virgin straight off his street. I wonder how he took that.
Yeah.
Hello, little boy. Are you a virgin?
It sounds a bit bad if you put it that way.
Well, that's how Connor described it to me anyway.
And to be honest, with most of the challenges, I went up to people and told them what they have to do.
I mean, that was like the easiest way of
I gave a bald guy the choice between giving me his underwear and getting a kiss on his head, so I'm surprised he chose the underwear option.
We didn't realise we were all trying to do the bald guy one, so at least 2 or 3 of us came up and kissed this guy on the head, because somebody's like, "There's a bald guy at the back of side."
He's loving it.
Ollie and Nina went up, Ollie did it, and I came up and I was like, "I'm away to kiss him on the head." It's like, "Oh, we already done it." It's like, "Well, there you go, mate."
Did you guys kiss one of the presidents?
Yeah, we had Amber, so her and James were going at it.
So it was quite awkward, everybody was staring and
Well,
watching.
I actually kissed Maggie on the cheek.
Did you?
I don't
That
know if
doesn't really
counts.
count.
Nah.
It doesn't. So did you tell David yet you kissed Maggie?
No, I didn't.
No.
Because it didn't count, so I don't think he would have minded.
Maybe that's something we can do. We can call David up and just see what his reaction is to it.
Oh, right now.
This is a brutal way for him to find out.
Well, I think he will obviously find out before anybody else.
Well, the story was, before we give it to him, so we had to still kiss the president as the last challenge, so I challenged her to rock, paper, scissors and won 2-0, so the forfeit was kiss on the cheek.
Is that your
That
normal
seems
kind
fair
of approach to girls?
Yeah, it's easy. It's either that, connect 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Because if you go first in connect 4, right down the middle, the middle column, it's mathematically impossible to lose if you play a perfect game.
Okay. Is that true, Hamish?
I don't know much about Connect 4.
Oh. Well, obviously the big question in this, if that says more about the kind of girls you go for, that they lose a Connect 4 and rock, paper, scissors.
To be fair, I'm very good at both games.
Oh, yeah.
Says a lot about you then.
I just practiced. What we got today? Episode 2, bench party.
When was this? Oh, I thought there was a bench party already. Like,
Have you trained already, or was it just...
I've trained already, yeah.
Oh, were you benching with...
No.
He deadlifted.
Yeah. Well, let's try to.
No, I think, yeah. I sent you the script, Seb. Come on. Should have been reading up.
I'll get it up. I hate, on Facebook how nowadays when you add somebody, it starts a new conversation with them.
Yeah, I don't
yeah.
I don't think it actually notifies them though, does it?
It does pop up. So
oh really? That's a bit weird.
the other day I added a girl which I had spoken to like two years ago, and then it popped up and Molly was looking at my phone as well. It's like, why has he been speaking to this random girl?
Is that why your Snapchat has to be signed in on Molly's phone?
No, that's just because my phone dies and then...
Sending choice Snapchats to Seb, and he's like, "Seb, why did you screenshot that one?" He's like, "Oh no, Molly opened that one."
Well, just to keep track of your antics.
No.
I think one of your antics isn't really something that should be brought up, should it?
Who, Hamish's?
You're right. No, Hamish.
Wait, what? Leave me out of this.
Let's see. Well, we already know. Yeah. Okay, I have the script up. I like it.
Feel free to fire into the Halloween themed sewing, by the way.
No.
Chocolate orange one. They're both.
The thing is, I'm already eating butternut squash mac and cheese homemade.
Is it just mixed in with butternut squash, or is it?
Well, essentially, I just Molly has a NutriBullet, so what I did was just cut up the butternut squash, roast it, then put it into the NutriBullet, and blend it with milk, cheese, and butter, and to create like this.
So that's the sauce.
Yeah, that's the sauce, and then you warm it up and you put some other stuff in it and mix it with some chicken broth and onions.
That sounds pretty good.
It's really nice, yeah. Mine is the chicken.
What are the macros?
The macros, I didn't really look them up, but I think it's said to use like 250 grams of cheese, and I just put in a whole block. And
so the macros are yes, all of them.
Yeah, pretty much. But it still counts as a healthy meal because there's butternut squash in it. So
fair.
I think that constitutes a really healthy meal. One vegetable. Eve would be proud.
Everyone's back for episode 2 because their first episode was so well received and popular. I think we almost hit 200 views on YouTube. Maybe 200 by now.
How many dislikes?
One did was one did. Was that you?
No.
I was so upset after the dislike.
That's how you know you've made it though, when you start getting haters.
Yeah, I suppose. Made it after the first episode. So we're back again with me and Hamish, and we also have our special guest today, former WWE wrestler and retired powerlifter Sebastian Jedicke. What's your name on Facebook so people can find you, Seb?
RSAJ.
RS Sebastian, RSAJ, there you go. Go have a wee stalk. Send him a friend request, message thing will pop up, you can shoot my wee message. Make sure you're not speaking to Molly. We'll get to know Seb a bit better later on in the show. Start off, we can have a wee rundown of the news. First things first, the social on Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure most people listening will have either known that's been going on and couldn't go, or were there. Shout out to RGU for giving us a laugh. Not quite as strong as us, but
that's okay though.
They put in a good effort. Yeah.
But the thing with RGU and the social, everything was going all friendly until you decided to post something. Fuck RGU.
Oh yeah. Was that the morning after? Or was that midday?
It was, I think, at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Drunken mind speaks so much.
Did some RGU girl reject you, or?
Yeah, it was.
Was it Maggie?
Yeah. It was after I got it's like kiss on the cheek. It just didn't quite do it.
Yeah.
I had like a hatred boiling through me, and just too much alcohol, and I think you
and David can just do a little competition for Maggie next week.
On the FIFA.
On the FIFA maybe as well, but just in the gym as well.
Can we have a dance off? I'd quite like that.
I would love to see David dancing.
Anyway, so I just had to get that out there. I'm sure they found it hilarious.
It's quite a good turnout because it was really busy.
Yeah, it was.
Some of the families are pretty big.
So was there 5 families?
I think 5 families. Like 8 to 10 people.
There's a good 7 on ours at least. So there's going to be at least 35 people, 40 people there. Bar crawl. So for anyone that missed out or didn't know what we're talking about right now, if you don't go to the club and you're just tuning in because you like our chat, our social event, we collaborated with the Robert Gordon University, us being Aberdeen University. We went on a bar crawl organised by the 2 social secretaries, Nina and Martin, I believe.
Yeah, great job guys, thank you very much.
The way that worked was we were assorted into families, so a parent from RGU and AU then had children who had to complete challenges and drink a variety of drinks as they moved around the bars. The challenges were presented on a bingo card instead of numbers. The challenge was there, and on the other side there was a corresponding drink which you had to then consume after completing the challenge.
What was your favourite challenge?
So what one did I enjoy watching or enjoy trying to complete? Like, what are we talking about? Favourite or funniest one?
Yeah, well, we'll go with funny one.
I don't know. The pulling the 30-year-old was very entertaining. No, I had
you?
I had no part in that. Well, I did. I was the one that's like, here, mate, do you want to pull a blood for our club? So that was quite funny. Can't remember what the drink was for that one, but they were a good. Nina actually gave me the sheet at training just there with all the challenges of it, and I left it in my coat pocket at home. So pure planning for me, so we could have read at the challenges. But there was that one. There was get a underwear or bra off a stranger.
Yeah.
Like Seb was
quite a smooth talker. You got yours pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, I kind of. I mean, everyone's seen the photo, and there's a wee bit of a secret behind it, so I think I'll just come out.
You knew her?
No, I didn't know her. So I did what you were saying earlier. You kind of just go up and it's like, this is what's going on right now. Need your help. And she was on a night out with her mates or like having a few drinks with people, but she'd come straight from work, so she had a change of clothes in her bag and a spare bra, so she never had to take it off. Yeah. So. I mean, it worked. It was fast. Got the job done. Got the challenge. Got the drink next. Not as impressive as it first seemed.
We ran into you guys on the way out, and then you showed us a picture. So what I did with Connor, we just went up to the same girl, asked her if we could have her bra as well, but it turns out she didn't said no. We had to get our friend a drink, and that's how we got the bra.
Ah, right.
But
so she took hers off.
No, it was the girl which Connor bought a drink. Took her bra off, so it only cost us £6.
That's a decent rate.
I think so. So yeah, it was pretty fun.
There was a couple of people on our team weren't drinking, but they all kind of stepped up to do the challenge and that, which is good. So I think that's one of the good things about kind of weightlifting and stuff like that. It's not like the other clubs like where they just go out and get absolutely rinsed, and then it's just straight into institute. However, we actually kind of get to know people. Yeah, get to know people a bit better, and it's much more fun.
I think one of the best challenges for like team building, if you can really call it that, was the Never Have I Ever. Because we combined it with buying a bottle of wine. So because then it's plenty of people for people to share, and
that's a good idea.
Yeah, and I think what was it? The other parent, I forgot her name. I'm awful with names, obviously. But she had a little game on her phone, so nobody had to come up with questions.
Oh, even better.
But there's a handful of.
So it auto-generated a thing, and then everyone just had to drink.
So a couple ones, like just going to follow up, like kind of the tone Hamish said in the last episode. A couple ones asked if anybody ever tossed a salad, or.
Right, I don't actually know what that means.
Do you not?
No.
Molly didn't know what it means either. Essentially, I think it's essentially from what we all agreed to, it meant rimming.
Okay.
But then another question was, did you ever rim somebody? But that wasn't actually the best story I've heard of the night. Somebody's sister in the club, apparently.
So let's clear this up. So someone in the club has a sister that's not in the club?
No, the sister is in the club as well.
Okay, so it's two sisters in this RGU club?
It's Aberdeen Uni.
Okay.
So it's a guy and a sister.
Alright, okay.
And
his actual sister or his sister?
His actual sister.
Uh-huh.
And the question which was asked in there Never Have I Ever was something to do with having a
Oh no, you know.
From what I heard, it was that she had to.
Yeah, his face was quality. He got his phone out to tell his parents as well. Yeah.
But then I don't think the parents really seemed to mind, because at the last social she had to message him a very sensitive message as well. So surely enjoyed that bit.
Yeah.
You can edit this one.
Yeah.
No, you can leave the whole story, and I'm sure people will enjoy it.
I wonder if he's a die-hard listener.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, well, there is only one episode, so as long as he's got 100% listen rate so far, we're happy.
I think he knows I'm going to be talking shit about him, so he definitely will tune in.
Yeah. So, any other gossip from the social, Seb? And Hamish, you want to enlighten us?
Well, we also ran into Nina today.
Oh yeah, Nina was very drunk, wasn't she?
Yeah. I think she was trying to form some strong RGU Aberdeen Uni bonds.
Right. She's good at making friends.
Yeah, very good at making friends, isn't she? But she didn't leave the night unhappy.
All right.
But I don't know.
That's good.
Well, she was the one that organised it, so we'd have hoped that she had a good time.
Yeah. And so far, I think
after James Zoo gave her an absolute, or James Zoe,
that's all
in the last episode, gave her an absolute roasting because you didn't have a good night out or something like that.
Yeah.
Which was absolutely poor form for the president. We're actually very shocked.
Well, I think this part.
You seem to be having a good time. Or is it all?
He sorted it out now. I think he's spoken his apology, so we'll let him off the hook.
Obviously, I could say something else about that, but then you have to edit it as well. Just regarding the whole kissing the president thing. I think that kind of made James's night, and somebody else wasn't that happy about that.
Oh, was Amber not happy?
No, I don't think she was.
Oh, that is such a shame.
But I think obviously no girls really kissed James. I think it was mostly guys on guys and.
Yeah, I heard you and Connor like sexually assaulted James.
I don't know if it's sexually assaulting somebody if they really want it.
So he told you in advance that he wanted to be pinned against the wall before he was kissed.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I get it.
But the original plan was that that Connor was going to kiss him.
Mm-hmm.
But then I just saw an opportunity and I couldn't really let it slip.
Yeah, I think Connor had pretty bad breath that night as well. So he probably.
How'd you know that, man?
Huh?
How'd you know that?
I live with me, mate. I can smell him.
Oh.
You've been pretty quiet, Hamish.
Yeah.
No,
what have you done? Where did you end up?
I got kissed by Omar, so I'm just keeping my.
Oh, right.
Piping down.
Sorry about that, but
is there anything more going to happen between you and Omar then?
Well, he's not texting me back, so.
Has he not? The thing is, I think Omar only really texts people back if they have a Wilks of 400 or higher.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why Omar, I think, is still single, because he hasn't really found a girl which he likes enough with a good Wilks.
Yeah, it's good to have high standards though.
Yeah. Plenty more fish in the sea, man. I'm sure he'll be able to keep a close eye on the women's progress.
Yeah.
So they meet his standards.
Maybe this should be a part of the whole program, keeping up to date with Omar's relationships.
That'll go down well.
What in the news? Yeah, we have a news segment on Omar's progress and the progress of the ladies he has his eye on.
Yeah.
Who are 400 Wilks for us to be taken for a drink.
What's Molly's Wilks?
Worse than mine.
Must be pretty high.
I don't know. I think it's obviously a training Wilks is a whole lot higher.
Uh-huh.
But I think in a competition it's something around 385.
Oh, watch out then.
Something in that area.
She's getting up to the 400.
Oh yeah.
Don't let that slip.
I think Omar offered her once that his dad is going to make her porridge, because Omar's dad is like Scotland's porridge champion. Yeah.
Although I think he came second this year though. I think he lost his title.
So no chance anymore.
Yeah.
What's the macros of the porridge?
I don't know. Enough.
Could be a question for next week.
Yeah.
Maybe if we get Omar on one time, he'll be able to enlighten us.
Yeah, no.
I think Omar would be very entertaining on him.
Yeah.
Right, you've set the bar high for him now. Continuing with the news, any training PRs for anyone recently? Any Ole people that have made a PR?
Yeah.
Oh no, there was somebody.
Yeah, Matt's got a 90 clean yesterday, which was pretty good. He's because I think he was saying his best was 70, and he was trying 60 a couple of times and just kept going up and smoked it.
Alright, so
it's good.
Maybe not pushing the boundaries enough.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to be working on his technique and he's a bit more self-confidence. But absolutely, it was a nice clean. So
I think I saw it actually. It was good.
And Kat's doing really well. She, I think she did a complex with a clean front squat, 2 jerks.
Can I explain what a complex is to us?
So a complex in weightlifting is when you string sort of more than one variant together. So normally you do a snatch or a clean and jerk, and a complex for, say, the clean and jerk would be you do a clean plus 2 jerks, or a clean and front squat plus 2 jerks or something.
Yeah.
And it's more of a conditioning tool than anything else, or just a way of getting in more reps.
Or it's also Ashley's way of getting new PRs.
Yeah, got to keep the variation up. But Kat got her. I think she did a clean front squat, 2 jerks with sort of 7 kilos off her best competition lift.
All right, great.
Which is really, really impressive. So
Excellent.
She's doing well. How about you guys? Anything?
The quiet Conor Mackey benched 95 the other day.
Oh really?
He's nearing on 100. He's nearing on 2 wheels. So I don't think he's going to push it too far yet. We'll be looking for that at the intra-club comp.
That'd be good though. That's always a big,
so he's got
exciting moment.
He's got that landmark to meet. I'm trying to think. Carlos can finally squat now after months of mobility problems.
Grand.
Balash has sorted out his hips, his hammies, and just about everything else. Been spending a lot of time together, so yeah, he was doing well today. I don't know. I don't know if there might have been other training PRs.
Maybe 2 weeks ago, or maybe a week and a half ago, I think Johnny did a little max out session.
Oh, he did like an AMRAP with, was it 210 or something? He got 8, I think.
Maybe 210 with squat.
Yeah,
and 230 with
fucking hell
deadlift.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
7. But then again, he did 230 for 7, and I once did 226 for 8. So the big question is, what's better?
No,
but I'm sure.
Who's got a bigger deadlift? Have you and Johnny?
I think he has if he would have done his max out before the last competition in the gym, he would have gotten 290ish.
Mm-hmm.
He pulled 275 at unis, didn't he?
Yeah.
You pulled 300.
No.
He He's pulled 280.
Yeah.
Oh really?
In a gym. In a gym.
300 mil.
Oh my bad, I thought you were a lot better than that, sorry.
What's your best competition pull, Seb?
261.
261. Yes.
But I was only,
was that the Alba for?
Yeah, because I don't know why I actually signed up for the competition. Oh, yeah, I signed up to qualify for British.
Uh-huh.
And then I got there and I realised that the standard of lifting is very low, and I might as well win the competition. So 261 was good enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah, 261 was good enough to set a record and win the competition.
Good enough to set a record, but not good enough to spill his mac and cheese down his jump. I saw you earlier. Well done, Johnny. That's fucking Jesus.
And the question is how it translates. I think Johnny's always been better in doing high reps, or not high reps, but higher reps. See how it translates into triples and doubles. And
I will. Hopefully, he can translate it well. Then we'll see a massive squat coming up, big deadlift as well.
Yeah. Has he got bigger squat than Ashley?
Yeah, but then I think the difference is that I would say Ashley's squat looks nicer.
Yeah.
But just I think the difference is that Johnny doesn't have to gain as much weight.
Mm-hmm. Where's he sitting body weight wise?
I think 103 or 104.
Oh really? Oh yeah, because I thought I thought he still competed in the.
Alright, so he's fired up a weight class.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, he's gonna be cutting weight now. I think last time I checked, Ashley was at 105, 106.
Yeah, he's kicking right there.
And I think comparing it to Johnny may have more weight on the bar, but I think that Ashley's looks nicer, and obviously because most of the times Olympic squats, like Olympic lifters which squat, looks a whole lot nicer than powerlifters squatting.
Yeah, well they do it for different reasons, so we can maybe do an episode on squatting and the differences.
But they both squat high bar.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, Johnny's trying to, I think, make the switch to low bar, but it hurts him. Poor little guy.
Just why I remember, there's a new kit soon.
Oh yeah.
So
lots of time and effort went into discussing the kit.
Yeah, keep your eyes open for when the kit order becomes available, so you can make sure you get all your brand new AUWC gear.
Well, the kit order becomes available when on Monday or Tuesday.
Is it?
Because James has me doing the Excel sheets.
Right, okay.
And he's being very demanding.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Add it from the horse's mouth. Kit orders are available on Monday or Tuesday, so if you're listening, it will be Monday. Or it should be Monday, because you should be listening as soon as this comes out. So get your kit orders in. Rep your gear in the ASV so everyone knows you're part of the club.
It will add kilos to your lifts.
Yes. So that's your kit order.
And apparently there's also caps coming out, which I didn't know.
Oh.
Stu's face.
You can even put your initials on it.
Oh.
But the thing is, do you really want to order a cap if everybody else has the same cap?
I bet nobody else is just going to say ASV.
I know, but that really takes away from the value of the cap.
Unless you buy one that has SV on it just to piss me off.
Maybe. But also, I think the price list, I'll have a look at the price list, and I think you have the price list here.
My current cap needs retired. It's losing its colour and it's got chalk on it.
Have you just got the one?
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at the prices, it's very affordable, the prices.
Excellent.
The only question, obviously, I think, for James is why he decided to put leggings in there, because the only guy which wears leggings in the from the powerlifters is really James.
I kind of fancy getting a pair of leggings, if I'm honest.
I think they're getting booty shorts that say soon on the ass.
I think
I don't know if that's a joke.
Nina wanted them.
Yeah, I'm pretty keen for those as well.
I think I would want mine to say juicy.
Or soon. Yeah.
We'll see.
Has it got a hashtag in it, or is it just soon?
I think hashtag will also be there.
Excellent. I'm excited for the kit order, actually, because I'm wearing the t-shirt. No, I'm wearing the Scottish Powerlifting t-shirt now, but the old, the t-shirt I lent you the other day. Yeah, there was like all the seams and stuff were like coming along the bottom. I don't know if it's because I washed it that many times or whatever, but that was a bit disappointing. So,
but the only thing I'm disappointed at that we don't get another shot at, the Pete has it as well. The white shirt with the big
the big
logo.
symbol on the front. Yeah.
That was my favorite t-shirt.
All right.
And it's just from washing it so many times, it's just gone
So well, if you're on the cat orders and James is getting at you, you can.
Well, I wasn't allowed to. I offered it to Molly numerous times that I'm going to be. I'm going to make a preview of every single item which you could be ordering, so you could see exactly how it looks, like I've done in previous years. But apparently, I didn't make it clear enough that I was willing to do it.
Oh well,
that'd been good.
That's a nice dig at the committee there. They'll be listening in, and sure we go get some dirty looks at training.
Well, I'm going to get a dirty look from Molly once she hears this.
Molly's doing Molly Gray isn't doing British, is she?
No, she's going down to help,
I
think.
So, is though.
Yeah, she is.
Got the British champs coming up. We've got Eve, Jen, Molly T, and Nina entered. Yep, that's definitely it. That's definitely all 4. I've not forgotten anyone. Yes.
Is there no guy going?
No. But they're all competing in 63, so it's going to be nice and some friendly competition there.
Particularly if there's 4 of them, because that means there's only 3 top spots.
Yeah.
So is it going to be too bad if we try and make a little prediction who's going to win it?
I mean, we can. I don't really follow their training too closely,
but regardless,
I think
it depends who else shows up on the day.
Even I know
between them though.
Right.
That seems like a risky game to play.
Should I go first?
Well, what information have we got?
Eve is going, isn't she?
Well, it's yeah, she is.
I think Eve would win. It's between Eve and.
So we're just discussing 4 people from our club.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know anybody else. But,
okay.
I think Eve or Nina will win it. I think it will come down to the deadlift.
Always does.
But I think both of them don't have the best squat. So we'll see who has improved the most on the squat.
Yeah.
And then the question obviously then is 3rd and 4th between Molly Tweedle and Jen.
And Molly's got a really solid squat, but I think Jen's a bit ahead on the deadlift.
Yeah. But then also Jen has come off doing a bodybuilding show.
So
it'll be.
But her squat's come on really well this recently.
Yeah, and it will also be the big question as how I'm sure that her body weight has stayed down. So she probably could win it. She might not win it on the total amount of weight lifted, but she might win it on Wilks.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my 1, 2, 3, 4.
If her body weight is down as well, then she'll have lots of room to be getting strong training in, getting lots of calories in to make it go healthy up into it as well.
I don't know a lot of girls which take that approach to lifting, so I want to gain as much weight as possible, at least from what I've been told so far.
After her recent bikini competition exploits, maybe she's had enough of the cutting life and be firing back on. Because that's the thing to bear in mind. I believe Molly T's cutting down to 63, as is Eve.
Yeah.
So if that doesn't go spot on to plan, then there could be a few complications on the day.
I think Molly's cut's going pretty well from recently, from what I've heard.
Training stuff like that as well.
But for some reason, she has this weird ability to do a lot of squats with a lot of with high volume.
Yeah.
It's like nobody else.
Yeah, she did 23 reps or something.
The cardio squats at
just holding the bar there for that amount of time.
Nobody else really does it.
No.
See, I would stop and get bored and pretend like I can lift much more.
It definitely becomes a mental game after you've hit rep 3.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck to all the girls anyway. There's your predictions in. I don't know if Seb's running any odds on placing.
I think we can organise something.
But maybe drop him a Facebook message again. Don't make sure it's not Molly that sees it. Get your bets in if you want to cash in on that. Wish them best of luck once again. PR song of the week. Seb, you're our guest.
PR song.
So if somebody's going for a PR in training, or you want to lift the mood a bit, that thing where Mike Smith runs over and fucking turns volume up so you can get a deadlift up, what kind of song would you be advising? What's one of your favourite songs maybe?
I always go, I think nowadays there's one song for I switch between rap songs and heavy metal. So for rap I go with a guy called Young Buck. It's called Come and Catch Me, but it has a lot of bad words in it.
Right. Do the bad words kind of raise your aggression?
I think it's mostly just about the beat and the sound of it. The guy has a quite aggressive voice. So I don't really care what they say, to be honest.
Do you have special songs or different songs for different lifts, or is it all just for whatever?
Yeah. So for example, I used to deadlift always listening to Hold Strong from Hustle Standard and Rob Bailey. I think Neil doesn't like him. But my general go-to song, if I'm out of ideas, would always be Sonne by Rammstein.
Right.
Just because it's...
So is that PR song of the week, or is it Young Buck?
I think I'm going to go with the Sonne, because it also says in German, obviously, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it just so happened that if I'm doing a set of 5, I'll do the first rep when it says 1, second rep 2, and so on and so on. So it's quite nice.
Excellent. We'll get that one on next week if anyone's going for a PR lift or something like that, or research it yourself, learn the words, learn your German so you can count to 5 during your reps even better. I think that's all for the news. Maybe I've missed something, anything that comes to mind. I've got it all in the script, but I don't know if there was anything else that was going on that I thought that we should maybe include.
No, we've got the intra-club comps coming up, so it might be worth to give people a bit of notice about that.
Yeah.
Because some people hadn't heard about it.
Mentioned that last week, that's the intra-club uni comp. So anyone who's a member, actually I don't know, can you compete if you're a social member?
I don't think you can compete.
I'm not sure. If you're a social, anyone who's got a membership that's not a social member, so guest memberships, competitive memberships, basic memberships. This is a competition within our club. And why are you smiling?
Just I want you to remind everybody to pay their membership, to be honest.
That's annoying because I was explaining that and I'm going to have to fucking edit it.
Okay, so
every pay their fucking membership.
Another thing maybe with news, because we were speaking to Nina and she was saying for upcoming socials, apparently there's a joint social with the
gymnastics.
Gymnastics, yeah.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
I don't know if I kind of made this up when I was speaking to her, but it would be fun if you do a kind of thing where they try what we do, we try what they do.
That would be so good.
Yeah, that's the idea.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's the idea. They come gymnastics come along to a powerlifting session. We go along about doing roly polies or whatever.
I think the thing is, I think people like Molly Gray should be banned because she used to do gymnastics, so she's going to be really good. And I can imagine that Balazs and myself and Pete aren't going to be the greatest at gymnastics. I would love to see Balazs.
I think Balazs would be a dark horse.
Well, it's all for fun, Seth. So I don't think it matters who's the best. But
no, but
that could result in result in an enjoyable social.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe with a night out after.
Yeah, potentially.
Just thinking out loud here.
Yeah, good idea. Actually, never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So there's the weightlifting one on the 12th of November. Yeah. And the powerlifting's on the 19th.
Yeah, so it's for our members only and members of the the Huntly Strength.
Yeah,
because they did a favour. Yeah, they did a favour with the strongman comp last year, so we open up to them and they can come in and compete as well. But we got powerlifting. If you're a member and you're training at least once a week, I'll have a biscuit. Thank you. You should be entering. Yeah, I can't unless you're injured. I can't think of a reason to not enter unless you're injured or can't make the deck.
Yeah,
I think Johnny's lifting, so that's going to be.
Is he?
Yeah,
oh, fantastic.
So I think
there's no reason not to enter. Get yourself out of that. If you're not sure what you should be doing training wise, if you're on the fresher program, just stick with that up to a week out. Make sure you ask one of the coaches. Ask somebody in the club. Coaches are Balazs and Eve.
Okay.
There's also a few other members that are happy to help. They're asking about, and yeah, so that'll be a good night. There'll probably be a night out after that, maybe. I don't know.
I think there's something going on. Don't know what. Could all go to Nando's or something.
Nando's.
Not a fan. No,
not really. I think it's overpriced, really.
Oh no, definitely.
Tasting the gracious.
Well, I've only been once. It was a couple of weeks ago, and there was a bit of hype around it. Yeah. It wasn't ideal.
Well, it's really what are those? I had them in Germany always. Those roast chickens on the rotary thing,
yeah,
and they are far better than Nando's. And I think what we paid in Germany, I think was €4 or $4.50 for half a chicken and a portion of chips, and
that's
it was massive.
Crazy. Yeah,
and that was back then before Brexit. And it would have been something like £3.50, and you don't get anything, maybe a side at Nando's for that.
Yeah, you're right. It's not ideal, is it?
No.
Well, so maybe we'll have a meal, but not Nando's. See where the social site decides to choose.
Yeah. I was also speaking to James regarding doing something like a eating competition within the club.
All right.
Especially after the poor performance at the.
Yeah, Pete fucked it, didn't he?
Yeah, I heard he showed up really hungover.
Yeah, it was shocking.
But something like that would also be fun, because we are a weightlifting club after all.
Eating's part of it.
Sorry?
Eating's definitely part of it.
Uh-huh.
For some people, for some members more than for others. But.
I think that is the news. Sorry that. So why don't we find out a bit more about Seb? He's been very vocal so far. Known to loads of members, particularly the older members who've been around quite a while. But some of the newer members probably have only seen you with your top off benching,
which we
deadlifting occasionally, shit talking other people. So I'm not sure they know your sweet, gentle side as much.
I know.
So why don't we go back to the basics and tell us when you joined the club and why?
I think I was in first year, so it would have been roughly when the club started. Obviously, Michael Ferguson setting up the club, and I was friends with a guy Jam was friends with, called Matt, a really nice guy, and just ran into him at a gym, and he was with Jam, and I happened to be benching at the time. So Jam asked me what my bench was, and so on, some normal chat. And I think at the time it was like 125 or something like that. But back then 125 was actually a decent number. And I think it was a tiny bit lighter, maybe 82 kilos. And he just asked me if I wanted to come along to the weightlifting club. Just came to a couple sessions, and back then at least there was mostly guys. I think there was one girl, Olivia.
Feeling the club changed from back then to now.
I think the change in the atmosphere is, it's for people which experience the old atmosphere. It's on one hand it's gotten worse, but on the other hand it's gotten better for the sake of the club. I think the atmosphere has gotten a lot more inclusive. A lot more members coming which have never lifted weights seriously before. A lot of girls coming to start lifting weights, which wasn't really the case. But I think it's also representative of the change in powerlifting in general, because a lot more people now start lifting weights. I think it's to do with everyone being on Instagram and seeing people lifting weights and stuff like that.
It's boomed up massively in the last 5 years just through social media.
Definitely.
So when the weightlifting club, I think it started at a really good time, because it started before the big push really came. So everything was in place and it was able to be expanded. And now it's grown to, what did you say, it's 70, 80 members?
Yeah, I think last time I checked we were 79.
Yeah.
And someone's still to pay, so that would be 80.
Yeah, interesting. But yeah, I think that the club overall has gotten better because it's grown. We get to do more things, especially socials. Never really were that big, and we never would have really done something like a joint social with RGU, except when we beat them at Granite City. But that's about it. Yeah.
I heard a rumour that they're doing weightlifting in Granite City this year. Have you guys heard anything about that? Or is that nonsense?
Like Olympic weightlifting?
Yeah. I don't know if that's the case.
You're probably in a better place to know than us.
I think it shouldn't be included unless we win it.
Yeah. I think we would.
Excellent. Let's include it then.
Shots
so,
fired.
In your many years at the club, Seb, most impressive lifts that you've seen in passing, maybe in the Sweat Hut and ASV, and so when we say impressive, it doesn't have to be maybe total weight moved, a specific body weight, but like something like a really nice looking bench press, or something you were like somebody hit somebody with 5 clean line.
I think it's going back to the whole thing where I said why I joined the club. Back when I joined, a 125 bench press was very good. Just like when Bingham pulled 260 in jeans, jeans and a t-shirt, just showed up, put a belt on, 260. I think that was probably the most impressive, especially at that time, the most impressive deadlift I had seen, and I think it motivated a lot of people to start deadlifting a whole lot more seriously. Probably the best lifter, as in pure amount of weight moved, would have been when I was in Edinburgh, Ali Ingalls. I think David sent me last night something where he did 324 a triple on the squat.
Jesus.
And something like 340 for a triple as well, deadlift.
Imagine having 300 kilo on your back.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So you can imagine, I mean, he did the same thing week in, week out. Every single time I saw him lift, he would have moved a ridiculous amount of weight. And there's plenty of people, but like you say, there's people which move a lot of weight, and if you look at the club, there's people which are very strong. And obviously I would be saying that for example, my bench press was or is better than Dav's, but David and I spoke about this as well. Dav, I think, had the nicest looking bench press because he controls it down, or the 160 I think it was he did in the competition.
Yep.
He controls it down very nicely.
Was that the push pull?
Yeah.
That was
always
nice.
in constant control off the bar itself. Low discus space.
That's not good.
No. So he's always in control of the bar, and I think while I'm stronger than him, he has the technique, and if we could combine the two, we would have had a far bigger. Like if we combine his technique and my strength, we would get maybe a 175. I think obviously Dav has the best technique in the club when it comes, or had the best technique in the club when it comes to bench pressing. So it's always really finding people which have the combination of both, I think, which results in an impressive lift. I think Ashley's squat technique at least is impressive. Johnny's strength is impressive, and if he can translate it, it's going to be even more impressive, because I think nobody really has squatted. I don't know if Johnny actually has squatted 250, but a 250 squat at a weightlifting club would be pretty massive.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think if one guy can really do it in the near future, it's Johnny. Even though I think Ashley started a rumour that he's going to be able to squat 300 kilos at one point in his life.
I think he seems pretty set that he will do.
Yeah.
What's his best back squat?
I think his best is 230. I think he's done.
That's far away though.
I think he did 250 with reverse bands.
Yeah.
So like you know they've got the new cage thing. So you put bands over the top and at the bottom, so it helps you at the hole. On the way up.
Yeah.
Which is mental, because like, could you imagine walking out at 250?
Yeah.
I don't think I can.
No.
I think I've done it. I've had maybe 260 on the back before.
That's
and it's not a lot of fun, to be honest.
The whole strength technique thing though, like, it depends why you're doing it, because if you're doing it to be sort of to do best in meets, then you need to have really good technique. But if you're doing it just to get as strong as possible, like I used to be able to bench like not a good amount, but more than I can now, and it was like all technique. And then as soon as I sort of brought my grip in, lost the arch, I lost like 60 kilos off it.
But strength is a skill.
Yeah, but like it shows it's like it's not. I wasn't actually strong. It was more just kind of manipulating leverages.
But I said that was part of strength. Yeah, I think that's the aspect, and that's what a lot of powerlifters do.
Yeah, it's good for powerlifting, but it doesn't transfer over to like. It's not functional strength.
Oh, functional, yeah. You're not going to win a CrossFit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that, no. But that's the thing. For example, for myself, what I'm going to be doing, and what I'm working up with David, is opening up the chest. I have to, and we speak about it occasionally, what I have to do to really get a better arch, get maybe not like an arch like some of the girls have, but get an arch where you can really utilize your chest, your triceps, and your shoulder and your back to the extent that it's very effective in your lift, and that technique becomes less of a limiting factor, but actually it's strength.
Yeah.
And I think if you in the club look at someone like, I think actually probably the best all-around lifter at the moment who really just needs to get stronger is probably David, because his squat technique is on point. I think his bench technique is really good, and his deadlift technique is really good. So there's not many ways in which he could improve that.
Just time.
Yeah, it's just time and getting stronger. So I think if there's one guy which is going to be very good next year, come British, it's going to be David. And
what are his lifts at the moment?
I think he also did an AMRAP kind of workout thing, and
squat 200 for 5.
Was it 200? No, that was before he got injured.
Was it?
I think he did something like 180 or 190ish for 6-7.
Was it?
But all of
recently.
them,
right.
All of them looked really solid, and he looked like he had two more in there, but he had to deadlift after. I think he deadlifted something like 190 for 7, and benched the same as Johnny, I think, or 2.5 kilos less, and only weighs 20 kilos less.
He was doing deficits deadlifts yesterday with like 200. He pulled a good.
And looked really.
I think it was 3, maybe 4. I don't want to shortchange him there. But
So you weren't counting, but you were just trying to look what he's doing.
Yeah, I was admiring his form. Yeah.
That kind of old trick in Kings where you look in one mirror to see what a person's doing, see what they're looking at.
Your better vision's got to be spot on. You can be standing over the red bench and watching somebody do pull-ups in the back wall.
Yeah. Talking about pull-ups, you know how you guys last week were speaking about freshers, which are quite impressive. Now I forgot her name, but you know one of the Scandinavian girls, one of the short ones.
Is she really short?
Oh,
blonde hair.
Blonde hair, yeah. Maris? All of them have blonde hair. Yeah, Maris.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be really strong. I I don't want to tell anybody what kind of motion Hamish just did.
Aye, what was that about him?
Yeah.
I don't understand that either.
Do
you know her?
No, it's something from The Social that came out in Never Have I Ever.
Oh, fucking hell. Oh, guys.
Who got fisted?
The Scandinavian stuff.
Maris.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, never have I ever.
No, I think she didn't really realise the game was being played.
Right, maybe let's get left in there.
So he just took a drink and just wanted to get in on the wine action.
What are we talking about?
But anyway, she was yes, she was doing. I saw her doing pull-ups the other day, and she was looking really good doing the pull-ups. It was all very strong, and I think a lot of freshers are lacking that like standard strength and the fundamental strength, which you can really measure in terms of pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups.
Well, Balazs was saying that like I'm not sure where it is, but some like it could have been Russia, probably Russia, but that they don't like when they start people training to begin with, they don't like let them have a touch a barbell until they can do so many pull-ups, so many bodyweight squats, so many press-ups, and like bash out like 50 press-ups.
Yeah.
And until they can do that, they don't even think about giving them a barbell. And then like if that like was the case over here, then
I think a lot of freshers would still be trying to get.
Well, most people in the club probably couldn't like bash out 50 push-ups.
Yeah.
Or 25 pull-ups or something.
I mean, but then I think a lot of the problem. It's obviously controversial to say because it's a club podcast, but often also the problem in Kings is that people are. I hope everyone can.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that.
Stuart flushing there. The problem I think in the club is that people only touch the barbells.
Yeah, definitely.
They only touch barbells or only touch dumbbells. Very few people do anything.
Not much bodyweight movements.
No real back movements, no real hamstring movements, and really the quad movements. Bar some girls doing lunges are limited to people doing squats.
Yeah, I think I've only seen like 2 people maybe use the glute ham raise thing in Kings.
I think something which probably James should be addressing is getting the chain replaced for the dip belt. Because I think Molly at least is going to be doing squats with just the belt around.
What is that? The dip belt broken or what?
Yes, it's been broken for ages.
I've got one sitting in my house, so I'll just.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it would be good to have a club one.
Yeah, I'll donate it. Heard it here first.
But doing things like that, just adding in more exercises.
Upper squats for dip squats.
Yeah, so like just between your legs, and it needs a longer chain.
Yeah.
So you can actually get a decent amount of weight on there.
Yeah, Max Sayed did a video about that actually.
Yeah. The guy which looks like who looks like Neil.
Yeah.
I always think of Neil when I watch videos of him, and he's also obviously really, really strong.
Yeah, he's ridiculously strong.
Did he go train with him? Because obviously Neil is doing all his trips to the States. I think we should train with.
No, I don't think so.
It would be quite funny seeing the two next to each other.
I think the chap he went to visit knows Jim Wendler like personally.
Alright.
That could be. I think so.
Elite FTS.
Yeah, Elite FTS, great. We were speaking about it the other day. How
we were.
Elite FTS used to be very good with producing information, and now it's questionable.
It's like T Nation. Like I used to absolutely love T Nation, but now when it's all trying to say that what is it like the lava? Or what is it?
Yeah.
What's it called?
I don't know. It comes in the blue box or something like that.
I don't know.
Anything to raise your testosterone.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. It's actually might be quite a good bridge there to move on to our the topic of the day, the bench party. Because there's, I don't know if you guys have seen Dave Tate's series, So You Think You Can Bench?
Yeah, very good.
So You Think You Can Squat, So You Think You Can Deadlift, and it's basically a quick rundown of what he would do if like someone's like, this is how you bench press at a seminar, this is how you're going to bench, and it's concise, it's easy to use, it's easy to copy, and like everything he says is clear, and it's a great thing for listening to if people aren't just really getting the hang of the bench and want to try something different, maybe a different way to learn it. Definitely have a check out of that. That's Dave Tate, DAVETATE, pretty easy. Elite FTS on YouTube, So You Think You Can Bench, and that's a good one.
Yeah, I used to when I started I decided I'm going to get a bit more serious about powerlifting. That's something I always looked at. Anything really, all the So You Think You Can, whatever series. They used to bring out a lot of good information about that. Also, if you go into Elite FTS ebooks, some of them have very good hints and tips and tricks about deadlifting, bench pressing, and squatting in the actual ebooks.
Right, so
and there's some uploaded actually on the club page, I think.
If somebody was to come into training, they've just started, they've done a bit of lifting already, say their bench press is about 80 kilos.
Yeah.
Form's alright, not perfect, but it's not dangerous by any means. What would you say is the thing they need to do to get their bench to start shooting up?
Well, it's obviously it's rhetorical. Well,
obviously, it's going to be a very general answer. It's not going to put, for example, are they want to be getting loads of volume in? Yeah. Are there any to be paying attention to getting their arms bigger, focus on their chest, overhead press, for example?
It really depends, I think, what they've done previously.
Right.
But as a general rule, what someone like David would do would give people a lot of volume.
Yeah.
And then you can really see how they respond to the volume. Most people will respond well. Doing a lot of volume, I think, also allows you to work on technique.
Yeah.
A lot of people which haven't really benched seriously before won't be using a lot of leg drive. And if you don't bench a lot, it's difficult to really time your leg drive because it will result in your butt coming off the bench or just missing the rep because you've missed that point where the legs can kick in and take the bar further up and you can come up to the lift.
So you reckon it's best for people just to be benching as much as possible, really?
I think so. Like doing it properly, like getting somebody, especially that's why the club is also good. Getting somebody to look at you benching, because no matter how much you can bench, I mean, obviously if it's like world level powerlifters, but it's people at our like level. It can never hurt having somebody look at your bench press or any lift really. Maybe
we should just fire in a wee disclaimer here. We're not strength coaches. We just enjoy it and. Yeah, don't take it too seriously. If you're looking for something to do, or we're just sharing our experiences of what we've done. I've only been lifting for like 2 years. Like I'm a beginner. I do take an interest in it and stuff like that as well. But just get that wee disclaimer in there, just so somebody doesn't come back with a f***ed up bench press or something.
I think one of the also key things is film your lifts.
Okay.
Like if you want to, especially if you're working on form, if you're trying to improve it, film your lifts and see how the movement of the bar changes depending on how much weight is on the bar, because everybody can bench. If you bench press 150 kilos and you bench press 60 kilos, it's not going to give you an indication of where the weakness is.
Yeah, definitely. Like 90% odd if your best is probably going to start breaking down a bit.
Also, once you start feeling reps based on fatigue and stuff, see which muscle fatigues, and you can always try and remember, but. Or try and guess based on what you perceive as the weakness.
Yep.
By having somebody else look at it and filming it and looking at it, comparing it what you've done 3 months ago to what you're doing today or in 3 months' time, it's going to give you a better indication of how you're progressing. And it's really just a lot of things about powerlifting is doing things which have worked for you, because a lot of us change from different programs.
Yep.
And 1 week you're going to follow somebody's advice of tucking your elbows more, and the following week somebody else is going to tell you, flared when you're pressing. So you end up with a lot of different advice.
Yeah.
And just seeing what actually works for you. And the easiest way to keep track of that is making notes and filming things.
I think we touched on that a bit last week, where it's like have two people that maybe bench the same weight but in completely different styles.
Yeah, definitely.
So take up what people are saying. Maybe it will work, maybe it won't work. But really, once you find something that works, just stick with it. There's no need to change it up. Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And if you do change things, it's better to change one thing at once, because then you don't know what's working. Every time you change absolutely everything about your approach. Then if something does start to work, you don't know which bit of what you change is the thing which is making the difference.
Yeah.
So conversely, if you're someone that benches 140 and your bench is plateaued a bit, maybe where are you going from there? Or maybe you could relate to an experience that you've had yourself, like a certain weak point that you've tried to hit or attack, or something that really held you back.
Well, I always struggle with not really the lockout aspect of it, but the transition period from getting off my chest is easy, and then the middle period between that and the lockout after that. Okay. But obviously I can't get to the lockout if I can't push the weight.
So that's maybe like 4 or 5 inches off the chest?
4 or 5 inches off the chest. What I think is you have to look at, probably a lot of people are going to say it's rich coming from me, but you have to look at flexibility. Flexibility is always going to play a limiting factor, but I mean, I know that my flexibility is a limiting factor in that aspect. But just dissect your lift and see what aspect is really causing you not to progress.
Yeah.
Because it was just if you always, I think you fail off the chest.
Yeah.
So if you feel off the chest, it seems like
strong enough, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you're not strong enough to get off your chest, so you have to try and get your chest stronger. Like Hamish was saying, if you work for a couple of weeks or months, actually, because I think a lot of people just think if they do throw in a couple of a bit of dumbbell press for 2 weeks, they're going to be somebody having a better bench press. But if you work on it for a couple of months and you realise it's still not going somewhere, then you have to see, well, maybe I was wrong. So just try and identify and get different opinions.
So if you're implementing another exercise or a change to your training to pass a sticking point or lift or a target weakness, you're saying keep at it for a good 3-4 weeks, a month or so,
at least a month,
and then evaluate to see the changes, rather than not doing it 1 week or miss it 1 week and I don't really like it either. So you've got to stick with it.
And sometimes I think just taking a step back and doing something maybe completely different. If you've never done banded bench press, just do a couple of for a couple of weeks, 1 day where you do banded bench press, or you put. What I've done was, which I think helped me a lot, was putting using bands to attach weights to the
I remember seeing you do that
to the bar. And
what benefit do you get from that? Because I was making fun of Neil the other day for using like a bamboo bench press sort of thing, and it looked a bit silly. But
was he copying me?
Yeah, I think so. So what benefit do you get from that?
I think it's easiest to see if you bench press it yourself. It changes the dynamic of the lift. So, and it teaches. I think I spoke with James about this, because James often would bench press and he would stop pressing. So he would get it off his chest and then he stopped pressing, so he would fail. But I think some people forget, which is silly, to keep pressing in the bench press. And I think with the weights dangling up and down, it continuously puts pressure, or you can feel that the bar wants to come back down with the weights bouncing down. So it just changes the dynamic.
I guess you have to be a lot more assertive with it. If it's wobbling back and forward, you're like, no, I'm moving it from here to here. Like stability and things like that as well.
But once again, I don't know anything about powerlifting, so I can't tell anybody that.
Yeah, it's good to hear people's experience and things like that as well. You were saying earlier, Hamish, that when you bench, you're the good arch. That's obviously quite a controversial topic within powerlifting. For those that are listening and don't know why it might be controversial, and the rules of the bench press are, in the IPF anyway, the federation that we compete in, when you're benching, your back, your upper back, your bum, and your feet must remain as contact points. Your feet always have to be on the ground. That's your heels and your toes
flat on the floor.
Your bum always has to be touching the bench, and your upper back always has to be on the bench. So
the butt coming off is always a problem for me.
So what an arch would allow is, if you can get an arch in your mid and lower back, then your chest is going to be higher. So when you bring the bar down to touch your chest, which you have to do in competition, you're going to be moving it at less distance than somebody who didn't have an arch. And some people think this is cheating. It's not cheating, it's in the rules, but it just doesn't look very impressive. Sometimes I think that's what winds people up. If you can get a fantastic arch, you can only move the bar 2 inches. It's not really a feat of strength, it's a feat of flexibility in some people's opinion, but it's in the rules of the sport. So if somebody was looking to increase their arch, Hamish, have you got any tips for that?
To be honest, I never really have to work with it. It just sort of happened naturally.
Super flexible.
I see folks doing benching over foam rollers and things, and I don't think that's a great shout if you're doing it with any weight, because if things go wrong, it can go really wrong. But I think doing it's like a warm-up exercise to get more mobile.
So people would put a foam roller on the bench?
And lie over it.
So you would advise against that?
I think it's fine if you're doing it with the bar just to get more, like, increase your mobility and sort of for warming up purposes. But again, if you're going to go for max effort bench, don't do it while your back's like over a hard
so maybe just like roll on the floor to begin with, and maybe like put a jumper in or something to widen it once you get used to that.
I think it's quite a radical. Well, I've done it. It seems like when I did, it seemed like quite a radical approach. Because you're really just forcing or trying to force that flexibility. But you're not going to get anywhere really. So
is that not what flexibility is though? Because if you were stretching your hamstrings, say like, and I reach out to my toes, I can only get a certain distance. But if I hold that, it then becomes comfortable. I can go a wee bit further.
Yeah, but it's the difference I think being is, and what Hamish means with also putting weight on it. It's if you doing what's comfortable for you and what's comfortable for your muscles in comparison with I stood over you, leaned over you.
Right, I understand. So if I was stretching my hamstrings
and
I got to my comfort point in my hammies and you pushed me forward, that would then strain them.
I mean, it could potentially. I heard rumors about like Soviet coaches and like Chinese coaches and like in Germany when it was still divided, some of the coaches used extreme tactics to get a gymnast very flexible, and a lot of muscles were snapped during the process as well.
Doesn't sound ideal.
Yeah.
The other good thing about arching is you can move the bar in a more straight line without impinging your shoulder.
Okay.
If your chest's up, then you can keep the bar kind of more over your shoulder joint, whereas if you're down, because you have to bring it to around about your sternum if you can't keep your...
So being the local doctor, would you like to describe to us, or attempt to describe what shoulder impingement is?
I feel I should say that I'm not a doctor.
Yeah, well, sorry. Another disclaimer there. Hamish isn't a doctor, but he's going to go and try and describe what shoulder impingement is anyway. You could just fire me onto your Wi-Fi and we could Google it as well. But then, I mean, at the end of the day, people can just Google it at home. Do you like Mark Bell, Hamish?
Yeah?
Yeah.
He's a funny chap. When I remember seeing one of his videos like maybe 3 years ago and thinking he came across like a bit of an arsehole. But that was entirely me being sort of judgmental and didn't really give him a chance. But I think he's now probably got one of the best channels for like just informative, and he's a funny guy.
Yeah,
and he's
enjoyable content. Like,
It reminds me of Dana White from the UFC.
Don't follow UFC, unfortunately.
Dana White, okay, never mind then.
I did exactly the first time I saw a video of Mark Bell, I was like, what a right toss.
Yeah.
But no, I'm big fanboy now, so it's good.
Yeah. Having said that, I used to like Jason Blaha, so can't really.
Natty or not, that's what we'll get Omar Khan on. Yeah. It's like fucking fake Natty.
Yeah.
Oh, because Omar's in one of the videos.
Is he?
I think so.
In a Jason Black video.
Maybe, what's the other boy called who makes fun of people's form?
Oh, Elgin Intensity.
Yeah.
No, Matt Laird's in his video.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. It's him doing a deadlift.
Yeah.
And his back's looking a wee bit sketchy.
Yeah.
We do have the impingement syndrome description up now, for those who are patiently waiting. It occurs when the tendons of the rotator cuff muscles become irritated and inflamed as they pass through the subacromial space.
Straight off Wikipedia.
Yeah. What's the subacromial space, Hamish?
It's a space that's between just under the acromioclavicular joint, so where your scapula meets your clavicle.
So Hamish is pointing to his shoulder right now. Yeah.
That's what we're speaking.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a tendon that passes through there and helps move your arm.
Okay. So when you're arching prevents this.
Yeah. Well, so if you let's try and visualize it. If you're sort of sitting there with your arms at 90 degrees like you're benching, and they're properly up. If you try to bring the bar down in a straight line, then the bar sort of comes down just to the bottom of your neck, and that's quite uncomfortable. If you don't bring
I feel a big stretch in my shoulder.
Yeah, like if you don't tuck your elbows at all, if you keep it up, then that's like really bad. But then if you arch, to avoid that happening when you're actually benching, you bring the bar down lower onto your chest, just to the bottom of your breastplate. But if you have an arch, then you can keep the bar path a lot more straight and still bring it down.
I see. So if you had to tuck your elbows without an arch, then you're going to have to touch down at your stomach.
Yeah. So the bar path becomes like the J or the S shape, depending on how you bench it.
Because I'm arching when I do that, then I push my back over, and I can still touch the bottom of my chest while keeping my shoulders in a safe and healthy position.
And you can keep your shoulder under the bar more if you've got more of an arch as well.
Okay. So no idea if that's helped anyone.
A bit of a bad description online.
So maybe that would suggest that if you have problems with that, and you'd be trying to fix, for example, a weakness in the midpoint of your bench press or the lockout, it wouldn't actually address it if you would be doing something like board press, just because it would change the dynamic of the lift and because it would allow you to move in a more optimal position. Same with people would try and address like lockout strength by doing rack pulls from ideal positionings.
Because it's going to be a different position than if you pulled the weight off the floor. Yeah,
because obviously it doesn't mirror how you actually normally would bench press or deadlift or squat.
Yeah.
So that's what the slingshot's really good for then.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I think that's one of the benefits of doing like these partial movements is that it's more you get a lot of confidence out of it, because if you're benching and you're doing a board press and you've underbacked say like 20 kilos more than you can normally bench, then when you underback sort of your normal bench, do a full lift, it doesn't feel as heavy. It's
great fun as well, the slingshot. To anyone that doesn't know what it is, it's a product invented by Mark Bell, not fanboying. We'll just plug in there so all our viewers go and buy his products, because obviously no one's heard of them that's listening to this.
Use our discount code.
Yeah. And you put it on when you're benching, and it's I don't know what it's made out of actually, but it's pretty stiff, elasticated material sort of thing. So when you bench, the tension's stored up at the bottom of the movement, and when you press, you get that assistance, so you can move slightly more weight than you normally could, or you can do slightly more reps within the weight that you normally use.
Like SBDs, but for benching.
Yes. We'll go for that. I mean, we've already put our disclaimer, so we can say what we want at this point. So Pete's got one, I've got one. A couple of people are kicking about training. Have a look if you want to try it out. Give it a go. It's good fun.
Have we got a club one?
No, not really.
No, we don't.
Oh.
I'm happily going to sell mine to the club for a membership.
Although Seb doesn't actually have a slingshot. Seb's got a knockoff, so I don't know if it...
Mine's from...
Yeah, but it's not a sling. No, the slingshot.
No,
it's like Mark Bell's slingshot. You know what I mean? You don't have Mark Bell's slingshot.
Well,
are there knockoff ones now?
Well, it's like you've got like the Titan Ram and stuff like that, which is the same thing, but it's not.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh,
mine's from strengthshop.com or .co.uk, whatever the thing is. But then I actually have to check because Pete, you know how Pete did a 175.
Yeah.
I'm beating my 170.
Pete's 175 was in the red slingshot.
It looked easy as well.
Was it cheating then?
No, because it's slingshot bench.
Yeah, but it's not as so you, because mine is a rip-off. Obviously, it's not as good.
No,
So
that's what you get what you pay for, mate, innit? Yeah, so arching can be good for the benches. A lot of the girls have good arches in the club. Reduces your range of motion, so you don't have to press as much. Press more weight you press, stronger you get.
Mm-hmm.
You want to improve your arch, or you want to learn a bit more about it. Again, get down to the club, speak to someone, drop Hamish a message, ask him about the bones, the bone structure, the muscles, the tendons. He'll give you a diagnosis. Seb, you don't have much of an arch, do you?
A slight
arch. So you do arch, but it's not like super gymnast arch that gives you a small range of motion.
It's essentially me trying to get myself in the most uncomfortable position I could possibly put myself in.
Okay. But this provides stability to press from.
Yeah. It's hard to get tight without having an arch, I find.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things about it is people are just thinking, oh, I need to get my chest as high as possible. Just even trying to do the motion, if you don't get much out of it, if your shoulder blades are tucked together, pushed down, and your back's nice and tight, your legs are locked in, then it gives you a really stable base to push from.
I think that's something a lot of people don't want to go and set up properly for bench press, squat, or deadlift, because it's actually very uncomfortable and very taxing if you do the lift how you're really supposed to do with involving as many muscles as possible.
Right.
And that's something I think they also talk about in one of the So You Think You Can videos, saying that if you're set up properly for a bench press, you shouldn't actually be able to talk. So if you're really tight and if everything is really, it should hurt a tiny bit. No, maybe hurt isn't the right word, but it should be uncomfortable. Yeah. If you're in that scenario, and you're able to push a lot of weight, you shouldn't be able to have a conversation with somebody.
Because all your focus is going into keeping every aspect of your body locked up.
Maybe the only thing you should really be able to say is 3, 2, 1. My bad.
Yeah.
But
a big thing that helped me is when somebody said that you think of your bum as an anchor point, you should think it as a touching point. So obviously your bum has to stay on the bench, but I would sit down and try and arch, and lots of weight was going through my bum, so my legs could have just like sat up. Like if I had my feet up, it wouldn't have been much difference because all the weight's there. Somebody said just put all the tension in your legs, so feet back as far as possible to the bar, so like towards you instead of away. Lock them in, and then lower your bum so it's just touching the bench. So all the tension's in your legs, and that makes it really easier to get locked in.
I think that's what David does.
Is it?
Because he lowers his bum to the bench as he unracks it, or like slightly after unracking before he starts. The bar starts going down.
Yeah.
His bum goes down as well.
That was something I think Brett Gibbs mentioned actually at the seminar. It showed. I don't know if he copied David or David copied him.
I think David copied.
Yeah,
I think Brett copied.
David. I think Brett. I think David actually sent him a message. And yeah. So we're just going to call out Brett Gibbs there. Hopefully he doesn't listen to it.
I never used to like putting my butt down last, and like again, like Brett Gibbs arguably is a better bencher than I am, but I found that like if you plant your shoulders and then plant your feet and then you put your butt down last, then it means that you're flexible enough that when you drive, your ass can come back off.
Yeah.
Whereas if you put your back down, then lock your bum in, and then push your legs back to the point where you cannot move anywhere, then even when you're really struggling, you're physically not flexible enough to get your butt off the bench, you know what I mean?
But I think maybe that can also then result in an injury, because I think I've had a couple of times where I've been using my leg drive and I got a little hamstring cramp But I don't know. I also it's
you eat more bananas, man.
Maybe. It puzzles me also how people actually do that. That they put their bum and lock in last with their bum, as in the bum touches really the bench last. I think I might give it a try on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Bench day.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anyone wants to bench on Tuesday, me and Seb will be benching. Give us a shout.
Don't tell anyone.
Come along.
How many times do you guys bench a week?
Twice.
Yeah. Maybe sometimes 3 times if I'm feeling good.
Bench every day.
Well, I'm benching twice for another 4 weeks, I think, and then switching to 3 times just to get a tiny bit stronger.
Frequency is good for bench.
I have a bench day on a Tuesday and a Saturday, and then sometimes I do close grip on a Wednesday for triceps.
On what day?
On Wednesday.
Okay.
Do
you go out on Wednesdays?
Nah, I don't go out that much. So if it's a Wednesday, it's a Wednesday. If it's a Thursday, it's Thursday. Whatever. Is there anything that people do a lot when they're benching that you're like don't understand why people do that sort of thing? Is something like that? Overrated exercises maybe?
Warming up with the bar.
Is that like, sorry, I can't tell if you're winding me up right now.
No, it's like, well, at least for myself, and I feel anybody who can bench over 100. I mean, everybody warms up with the bar, but I think before I warm up with the bar, I do a whole lot of other stuff. Like it's when I.
So do you want to take us through your warm up routine for bench press?
My warm up routine.
Yeah.
Very extensive. Very. It sometimes starts with a game of FIFA.
Okay.
So I warm up my thumbs and my fingers first.
Yep.
But no, I think just trying using light dumbbells and just warming up your shoulders. I think sometimes your shoulders and if you're feeling a bit sore, your joints are a bit sore. But if I at least when I use the bar, the reason why I don't get, well, I do get why people use it, but why I wouldn't do it is when I bench press with the bar, my back comes off when I press. Because it would just be too fast.
Right.
So
there's no counter. They're not enough counter force because you're so strong.
Well, that's maybe not the reason, but I don't know.
I understand. So you feel like if you're benching with the bar, it's not. You might be doing it slightly differently from when you're doing your working sets.
I think even if you just put 10 kilos on each side,
it
changes the dynamic. But obviously, if you, for example, Molly, 20 kilos is 34% of her bench press, 33.
Yeah.
So that has a bit more merit to bench rather than somebody who benches 150 warming up with 20 kilos.
Yeah.
Well, couldn't you just do it a bit slower, just get the blood flowing, and then when you get a bit of weight on, then you can start getting a bit faster with it.
But why not just jump straight to 60? People say it's you're going to tear something, but am I realistically going to tear something with 60 kilos?
Yeah, probably not.
We'll wait and see.
We'll wait and see.
Maybe hopefully we can get you back on in 22 episodes with your pec hidden. Just be just post off.
We'll see about that.
What about overhead press? Do you think that's essential for bench development? Useful?
What's your overhead press? So we can judge.
Oh, actually, here,
standing overhead military press.
David would be disappointed if I wouldn't bring this up in the podcast. Yesterday we did incline bench press, which was more like a seated shoulder press, and
because the incline was quite high.
Yeah, very high. And he did more than me apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But it comes back to identifying weaknesses, because he has a better I think in that aspect he has a better overhead. He probably has a better, maybe not overhead like shoulder press wise, but he's better at incline, at that kind of incline movement. And I struggle in the same area where I would struggle also with flat bench. So that just highlights where your weaknesses are. And then we spoke about it, and we decided what I need to do more.
So you're going to try
to address it.
Start implementing incline bench into your training program.
Well, I will obviously do it, but not necessarily. But just highlighted that also the shoulder and the chest needs to become a bit more flexible, so that that I'm more pinned back when I bench press.
Okay.
So just to allow for the internally rotated shaft, and that if your shoulders are already to the front, you're gonna have a harder time locking out.
Yep.
Rather than if you all pinned back, then it essentially, I think, once I manage to get better flexibility, I will change my bench press from a normal bench press to something that would be equivalent to if I currently would do something like a a 1 or 2 board press.
Okay,
because it's going to be putting me in a more ideal position, and the range of motion is going to decrease and everything.
So because your shoulders are going to be less tight, you're going to be able to tuck your shoulder blades back more, then this is going to push your chest up and create more space between you and the bench, meaning you're closer to the bar.
Yeah.
So less distance to press.
Yeah. And hopefully also I'm going to be in a more ideal position at the point where I'm weakest then.
Yeah.
To press through it.
Excellent.
So that's something, so overhead press I think I could maybe do 90. Like shoulder press, standing, military.
For one.
Yeah.
That's still pretty respectable.
I think so.
Because that's just like what, 50, not quite 50% of your bench.
I thought you were going to say 50% of your body weight. I was going to say, mate, brutal.
I know, it's kind of isn't it?
What's that?
I think it's something like 63.
60.
Yeah,
so I think that's actually an alright ratio there.
It's not ideal, but if you look at I forgot his name now. I call him Thor whenever I forget his name.
Thor.
The boy you were speaking of last week. Eric, yeah.
Thor.
Can you use your calculator? Just calculate the percentage, just for the fun of it. He has an incredible overhead press, I think.
All right.
So there's 2 ways about, like you say, there's people bench press all the weight because they're strong in different areas.
Yes.
So you can have a really good overhead press, and I think it's not. You'd rather have a really good overhead press than it being a weakness. So I think overhead press is quite valid for bench press.
Okay, so people that are just starting to make some bench gains and they maybe neglect shoulders and overhead press, Seb would say get that into your training. At least keep it up with alongside your bench, even if you don't feel like it's doing anything for you. It might turn out that it's doing something for you later.
Yeah.
Just to get those disco shoulders.
Oh yeah.
What are disco shoulders?
Oh, the disco workout. So when you go in, you do shoulders and buys, so you look more jacked when you're out.
Ah.
Fill out the t-shirt.
Yeah.
Never really done that.
Traps. Hamish, anything about the bench? I mean, you obviously don't do much bench press anymore, being an Olympic weightlifter. But do you ever do like? Obviously, you do overhead pressing, jerking, push press.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do any chest movements like jet?
I've started doing close grip again. I think I started like a couple 2 weeks ago now, and just trying to get pressing up a bit because getting stronger is not going to hurt.
No.
Strength is never a weakness.
Exactly. I was going to say that, but I thought it might be a bit too. Yeah.
This is more that TV super training gym.
The best thing I ever did for my bench was injure my SI joint actually, because I came in and all I could do was bench 5 days a week, and that put the most on. So I think frequency was quite a useful thing because, like you're saying, like some people are really strong and some people are sort of technicians, and I'm not very strong. So I think coming in and just practicing frequently was what made the difference.
Excellent. What about back? You need to keep a balance for your back, your bench.
I think so. If you look at what Dav did, I think Dav was doing pull-ups. He was doing a variation of 5x5, and essentially was doing a variation of Marca, which he altered a bit
for pull-ups.
For bench press.
Okay.
But he was also using the same kind of. He was implementing pull-ups into that, and I think he ended up doing something along the lines of. I think maybe it could have potentially been sets of 8. With 20 kilos.
Pull-ups?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus
Christ, that's
I think.
impressive.
Well, he definitely did. He definitely used some 20 kilos for some of his pull-ups. So, I mean, he had a really... He always had a bad deadlift. But he got really tight on the bench press and was really able to control the weight, which resulted for him in very strong bench press.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, once again, the same thing with overhead press. You do need to keep a balance because it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
And it also it builds a bigger upper body, and I think the same when you say you need to also have to kind of you can't just be so one-sided. Only use your lower body for Olympic lifting because if you look at the Olympics, most of the Olympic lifters are absolutely jacked.
Yeah.
If you look at some guys in the weightlifting club, which are Olympic lifters, a lot of them lack upper body, which we can now go into the whole like call someone out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing is, it's not really a call out because I think most people, most Olympic lifters, won't really be doing much upper body work.
Yeah, no, that's
but
true.
I think definitely it wouldn't hurt them.
No.
Yeah.
And I think the Jack guy, he isn't. I think he also has a decent upper body.
Yeah, he's pretty jacked.
Yeah. Jack.
Yeah.
I like that. So I think it's Olympic lifter in the club won't hurt them if they do upper body. or even if they come along to once in a while to like a powerlifting session, and just do body training.
All the new Olympic lifters we encourage to do both to start with, because we were saying like even though we compete differently, like the ultimate goal for both sports is to get as strong as possible, and it's just how you demonstrate the strength is the difference really. Having said that, the reason the reason that some folks say that you shouldn't be benching for weightlifting is because if you get really strong chest disproportionately to your back, then it will pull your arms forward and it can affect your overhead mobility. So you can't get into the correct positions for catching snatches.
But that's the same as some girls saying they're going to get, and they don't want to go to a gym because they don't want to get too muscular.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Until you actually get to that point, it's going to take a lot of bench pressing. It's going to take a lot of training. It's not like you're suddenly going to start bench pressing for 2 months and you're going to be a muscle-bound god.
Well, no, but some people for example, like Ailey yesterday was having problems with her snatch because she had just like, come on, Chaps.
Don't shut that bed.
Come on, Chaps. Stop it.
I'm going to go to the toilet.
Yeah, so she was having problems because she had her chest was quite tight and fucking hell. Was having problems with her mobility, and she doesn't come in. Okay.
So
everyone's just.
So she had a tight chest. Please leave that in. Tight chest problem with your snatch. Is it still recording?
Yeah.
You thought you were going to get away with that.
Can you just leave that in there?
No, definitely. No, leave that in.
The name of the podcast. Tight chest problem with your snatch.
So Ailey was having problems with her snatch because she couldn't get into the proper overhead position, and that was from a tight chest. And she's, I don't think, spends all of her time benching. So
no, I've never seen her bench really. So
for people who have got like problems with overhead mobility, as is, that's an argument for not benching.
But I'd also say if you would like deadlift once in a while or something, and then after, say you only deadlift once a week and your hamstrings will get absolutely fucked up and your back's tight and all that. But if you maybe start deadlifting lighter once or twice a week on top of that, then your kind of body adapts and you get used to it, and you maybe don't suffer from as much as tightness. So maybe it's actually they're not benching enough.
Yeah, no, maybe, yeah.
Maybe. But that's bro science then, isn't it?
Yeah, that's 100% bro science right there.
But also things we were talking about deadlifting and improving actually. Loads of people when they do Smolov.
Mm-hmm.
Is it small? The SWAT program, yeah.
Yeah, the crazy Russian Smolov 12-week thing.
Yeah, so they say if you do the full cycle of Smolov, obviously you're not going to be able to deadlift.
Yeah, but people still find that their deadlift goes up.
Yeah, but then it's maybe not weird, but I think it's maybe if people looking for a way to improve their squat while also improving their deadlift.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a shout.
To an extent. Because I squat more than I deadlift, so. Actually, yeah, I don't know. No, by intra-club comp I'll be sorted, but fuck, we've ran out of fucking stuff on the script as well, so I can't even fire away something else. I mean,
what are you wanting for your deadlift on the 19th?
I think you should talk about your deadlift.
Because once you've vocalised it, you've resigned yourself to hitting it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't.
What do you think? 200?
Nah, 200's not on the cards. Like. Maybe close to it, but I don't think 200 is going to be there. Especially not having to squat.
Are you still pulling sumo?
Nah.
Thank God.
That's why I went down, because when I squatted wide, I could just get away with not training deadlift as much, because it was essentially a half squat, but I was holding on to the bar.
Yeah.
Then so it was always just a wee bit more. But then my hips started getting dead sore and stuff like that, so I put my squat in and trained high bar and stuff. And my squat kept going up, but because I didn't have, I don't know, maybe it was just the hip training or whatever, the wide stance wasn't used to it. I still didn't train deadlift more, so it kind of dropped. So my sumo was like down at 118, but at that point my conventional was only 10 kilos behind, and it's way more fun. So I just decided if I'm going to train deadlift, I'll be doing conventional.
Yeah.
What is it you're doing at the moment with deadlift training then?
So Are you
peaking? Are you specifically peaking for the competition?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I deadlift. I have 2 bench days, then a third upper body day, when I hit like stuff that I wouldn't hit in my bench day as much, like back, shoulder press, a bit of arms, things like that.
Yeah.
And then I have on Mondays my squat day, and Friday's my deadlift day. So squats would be train a high bar squat, then stiff leg deadlifts, front squats, and then back accessories. And then on a deadlift day, it's heavy deadlifts, then lighter weight deadlifts, and front squats.
It might be worth bailing on the front squats and doing more like RDLs or something.
Yeah.
Because you've got a pretty like an upright squat anyway, and you're quite quad dominant. So what are you getting out of the front squat?
The front squat was like the limiting factor in my front squat wasn't my quad strength; it was my upper back.
Okay, that's fair enough then.
So I quite like that for putting in core. It's kind of core work, upper back work, being stable and things like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't mind. I hate my front squats the other day. Couldn't be arsed doing them, but I kind of like front squats.
So who's doing your training? You're doing your training yourself, aren't you?
Yeah.
Maybe you're doing your training as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Front squats are fun. They're better than back squats.
So see what I hit at the intra club comp and evaluate from there.
Are you competing, Hamish?
I think I'll be running the Olympic one.
Are you competing?
I probably won't compete in it because I can't really do both.
Are you going to do something?
No.
Bench only?
No. I don't know how it really fits in with my program.
Yeah.
But you don't get anything from doing bench only, do you?
Well, like prizes?
Yeah.
No, you just get to bench in a competition environment. Show off.
Massive bench.
No, I don't think I'd be bench.
Spotting and loading then? The main back spotter?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Just for Pete though. Because I really want to get in close. Nah, I don't know. I'll see what I'm doing on the day, regardless. But if I can, I will be there.
Excellent. So I think that's pretty much everything. We can start trying to round it off.
Yep.
Seb was getting a wee bit upset earlier that he hasn't had the chance to call people out. So
what? Well, I already did halfway through.
Yeah, you've called out people like as we go along. You've done a bit of shit talking, lived up to your reputation. Is there anything that comes to your top of your head that you want to get off your plate? Maybe call somebody out.
Anything you want to say to Molly while she's not here?
Well, she's going to be driving me to work in a second, so that's
but she'll hear this afterwards.
Oh, hi. How's her driving?
How's her driving? Her dad actually has this app where he can track and like it grades the driving.
Oh yeah.
So she's doing fairly well there.
All right. Is she a better driver than you?
Well, I don't have a license yet.
Oh wow. So that'll be a yes.
I give her a couple of tips and tricks when I get to
Of course you do.
No, but her driving is completely fine.
Right.
I didn't really call anybody out as such. I think the only thing, if you're in a weightlifting club and if David can be bothered to do your training and you don't have anybody else to do your training, I think David, from personal experience, is somebody good to approach for doing your training, because he's if he thinks you have a good potential, you have the potential to achieve something which he would find respectable, he will help you to the best of his ability for you to reach that goal. But then I also know people like Molly Tweedle are getting great results from
John Soulsby.
Is she still with John Soulsby?
Mm-hmm.
Who's it you're training? Is it you're doing Nina?
Eve's doing Nina at the moment.
Eve's doing Nina. So you're not doing anybody at the moment? Well,
I'm doing
except Eve.
The weightlifting people. No, not Eve anymore.
Yeah. What is this?
I just realised I got the bit of paper with all the challenges on it for the social. Push-up contest by a bouncer. Did you win?
I didn't do that.
Yeah. Getting a stranger's underwear bra. Arm wrestle your cousins, another team.
I think I did the arm wrestling, but arm wrestle some RG guy beat him easily.
Of course you did. Doing a chili shot. I had to do that. That was savage.
That was terrible.
Wait. I'm quite confused with the chili shot. Did you mean a chili shot at vodka ref?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I did? I just spoon-fed people chili.
From where?
Like chili sauce from, I don't know, garage?
That sounds pretty bad as well.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, I think.
Well, thank God I didn't have to do that. Molly just messaged me, she's looking for you, Seb.
Alright.
Looks like we're going to have to wrap that up right there. No one to call out?
No, not really.
Right, excellent. It was great to have you on the show.
Thanks so much for coming, Seb.
Lots of valuable information, and I hope everyone at home enjoyed it. That's episode 2. We'll see you next week for episode 3.
Make sure and subscribe.
There we are.
Are you guys getting anybody else on in the near future? Are you?
Well, we'll look to have a guest every week. If you want to be on the podcast, if you enjoy it, give us a shout. If you've got PRs from training, you want people to know, I think you're doing well, let us know. We'll give a shout out when we do the news. And I think that just about wraps it up.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Alright.